Okay, I guess we have a quorum already, and so I'll go ahead and begin the meeting. Um, Given my discussions with a couple of people prior to the meeting, I know that this will probably be a shorter than usual meeting um, because we have not too many reports here at this time. So let's go ahead and call to order. Edgar, are we ready to begin?
Yes, they are, Henry.
Okay. Let's go ahead and call to order the meeting of the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone number 1. Today is Tuesday, March 8th, 2:30, and the meeting, no, actually 2:32, and the meeting is being called to order. Second item on the agenda is roll call, and I'm going to go ahead and ask Edgar to go through the list.
Patricia Goldberg. Maria Sulmia.
Present.
Mr. Jose Castillo.
Present.
Mr. Orlando Navarro. Henry Sauvigny.
Here.
Mr. Jose Ceballos.
Here.
Ms. Carol Alexander.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you do have a quorum.
Very good. Next item on the agenda is the minutes, approval of the minutes from the February 8th, and that should be 2022. I just noticed it. 2022 meeting. These were sent to us earlier. They were pretty short, but did everybody have an opportunity to go through them? And if you have, are there any corrections, deletions, questions to the minutes of the last meeting? One question, what was at the very end, you have a footnote about technical difficulties. Is that a?
Correct. So the minutes were very reduced. We did receive an email from PAC that they had technical difficulties, and they found out after the fact, after the meeting ended, and like around 11 p.m. we received that phone call.
Okay, so that's why the notes are so succinct. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I apologize for that.
Okay, very good. I think the largest and the most lively discussion there, and by lively I don't mean controversial, I just mean it was thorough discussion, was on item 5, which was the presentation by Able City on wayfinding. But are there any corrections, additions to the minutes? Then I'd like to entertain a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye or waving your hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item, 4, citizen comments. Citizens are required to fill out an online participation form no later than 2:45 p.m. and can be found on the city's website. To assure all precautionary measures are taken to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. No more than 3 persons will be allowed to speak on any side of an issue. Speakers may not pass their minutes to another speaker. Comments should be relevant to the city business and delivered in a professional manner. No derogatory remarks will be permitted. Are there any citizens signed up to speak?
At this time, we have not received any comments. We still have about 10 more minutes, and I will notify you guys if we do receive comments by then.
Very good. And so we'll go to the 5th item on the agenda, discussion with possible action regarding the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone number 1 project and timeline updates by Able City and other matters incident thereto. Able City, any comments or that you have based on your presentation last time on wayfinding? You're on mute. No, still on mute. No, we can't hear you still. Maybe you have to log off and come back on.
Can you hear us now?
Now, there you go.
I apologize, I don't know what happened, but Frank Rudnowski and Viviana Frank of Maple City. Viviana, you want to bring up a couple of points so can Viviana?
Yes, we are in need of a budget for wayfinding signage to move forward. We have not gotten the budget. And the other thing is that we need to sit down with the consultant that has been chosen so that we can move forward on talking to them about the design of the various monument locations and all of that.
Okay, first things first, when you speak about a budget, are you speaking about that budget that we had talked we were gonna share some of that expenses and the city was gonna share some of the expenses in terms of wayfinding signage in the downtown area?
Yes, but we haven't been able to get a budget from CVB. They have a grant or monies set aside. And we've pretty much gone to the extent that we can go in terms of our study. The next step would be to, understand the budget and find out, to the extent of what can be done with the locations and the signage with that budget.
Correct.
And whether,
Sorry.
and whether, okay, so if that can only stretch a certain amount, how much more would we need to accomplish all the other locations or the locations that we have? We haven't done any kind of branding concepts for we've located, we know what we want to do, but we still have to bring on an environmental graphic person who will help us with that aspect of it. But we need to find out what the budget is, so that we can accomplish the scope accordingly
And stay on budget.
and stay on budget, obviously.
This
So-
is Eileen from CVB, if I may.
Thank you.
Thank you. So if we can get, we reviewed our contract. We the last couple of weeks we reviewed our budget. I'm sorry, and in reviewing, we would need some idea of how much money we will need to ensure that we have that amount within our budget. So rather than telling how much we can afford or how much we have, if we can do it the other way, because most probably we will have to talk to management and to finance, to Mr. Castillo, regarding a drawdown from Hotel Motel. So if we can maybe have a side conversation and go through the proposal and see what applies to what can be applied to Hotel Motel funds, and see if that's something that we can do, rather than telling you we have $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000. So I apologize for that delay. We were trying to see how we could do it within our budget.
So, Aline, I think that's a good, I thank you for the comments you just made. I think that your suggestion is a good one because the presentation made by Able City the last time, and I don't know if you had a chance to review it, was a pretty thorough one which showed locations, various size of signages, the types that would be needed, which would be principal signages, which would be less than, your large signages, and where they would be located. I think we agreed when we were speaking about it that it was a comprehensive plan, and Able City asked for comments on it, basically saying, do we need more? Do you see where we could use less? These are some basic signs that are needed in certain areas. So I think it's in order to give you a budget, it would be a good idea if it's possible for someone on you or someone from your team to sit down with Able City and review the parts that you know, you might say, yes, I liked all the plan with all of the signage and everything you described, then they can price it out. But I think it was very comprehensive and it had quite a bit. And if there's anything to eliminate, there's no need in pricing something out if we're going to be paring it down. Does that make sense?
Yes, and we'll be happy. I'm happy to meet if y'all.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. So,
Oh, okay. So can we shut it
If
down?
you're available this Friday afternoon,
Able
Yeah.
City?
Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
Good. Okay.
Well-
Okay, so I'll let you all to coordinate that so that we can move to that step. Now, the second part of what Able City brought up in their discussion was at the last meeting, we approved the subcommittee's vote on accepting the evaluations and notifying KCI Technologies about the contract. I need help from the city staff in telling me what's the next step after that. So we've already submitted the decision to engineering, and what does engineering do after this step, and when can Able City begin to work with the KCI?
So we did send you that letter to sign, so we can send it to Mr. Ramon Chavez. I have not received any, we did receive an email stating that they received the letter. As of right now, we have no further information from the engineering department. We can definitely look into it and definitely let you guys know.
I think we need to in order so that we can continue to move forward, because I'd hate to approach the company and say, hey, we're going to be working with you with X, and they're scratching their head wondering what we're talking about. So would you let us know so that we can begin that contact?
Of course.
Yeah, okay. Any other points or questions that we need to discuss under this item?
Yes, I would also like to add that there is a nice budget set aside, I believe, with Robert in the traffic department, that for the stoplights and the changes for stoplights and locations and all of that. And that would be another item to discuss at the same time with us and with KCI once they're brought on board. Or maybe it's also, and I don't know if Rita or somebody can help us, is that something that we need to coordinate with them along with any other aspect of the utilities that are being anticipated in these areas?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, yes, because traffic was funded to replace some of those wooden pole in downtown. And so, yeah, please coordinate with Robert, and if you need my help, I'm happy to. And so, and we anticipate next year we will probably fund some additional traffic improvement, because this thing is so old that is basically you can't find any parts anymore. So we have to systematically upgrade the entire downtown and some of the older parts of the city.
Okay. Great.
So we're available if you need to meet with them and us to coordinate those things at any time, just give us a call.
Okay.
KCI.
Yes, I will have Robert call you after our meetings.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that I think we now have two items that we know will be reported on, and assuming that minutes are being taken on this, if not, we should just take notes on it. For the next meeting, Able City will be able to report on two follow-up meetings, one related to the Convention and Visitors Bureau and the other related to traffic. Because again, as a couple of our board members have mentioned in the past, this is something we can already begin to work on and should already be advancing on while we're working on the bigger infrastructure related ideas. Okay, any other questions or points related to this particular item? Very good. Sensing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, discussion with possible action regarding the monthly invoice submitted by Able City. Did you submit an invoice, Able City? No?
We didn't incur any hours since the last meeting, so no, we have no invoice.
Okay, very good. Well, that's a good thing or not, because we want to be going gangbusters by now. So, zero invoice may sound good to some people, but in this case, we need billable hours to show that this project's moving forward. That's it for items on the agenda. I did say that this was going to be a short meeting because I knew we didn't have a presentation per se. It was a follow-up on assignments that had been made the last time. I will now move to the last item on the agenda, adjournment. And before we do adjourn, actually, can we get the date of the next meeting so that people can put it on their calendars, Edgar?
Yes, so the next meeting will be on Tuesday, April 12th at 5:30. And the next meeting will be scheduled in person. We will not have any WebEx meetings after this one unless advised by the city. But the next meeting is scheduled to be April 12th at 5:30, and we should meet at council chambers.
Okay. And then just a party thought, going back to the penultimate item, was that Able City, please help us, as our advisor and consultant on the project, we need to be moving forward. So let's keep on top of making sure that the engineering company is on board here so that we can start moving this forward. This is critical to the project. That said, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by waving or saying aye. Okay, I think this is our shortest meeting on record, but thank you, everybody. I don't like to waste people's time if I'd like to get to the point and just do the items that we have at hand. So since seeing that there's all ayes for the adjournment of the meeting, this meeting is now adjourned, and we'll see you at the next meeting or the next subcommittee meeting. Thank you, everyone.